most of y'all have seen some of the letters that we posted, put some of the stuff on the family site. But I'm glad to see all of you. Glad to have everybody here. And I'm going to ask Mr. George Albert, he'll give the invocation today. If y'all would, I'd like to ask all of you to stand if you could and do the invocation.
Let us pray. Almighty God, whose abiding love sustains our world, with glad hearts we gather here in celebration of our shared histories. In deep gratitude that stretches back through the years, we remember the strong friendships we made in our youth. We give thanks for the devoted lives of teachers, coaches, mentors, and family who generously nurtured us as we grew. Today, even as we rekindle our old friendships, we are tenderly mindful of our friends and classmates who are no longer with us on earth. We give thanks for their lives, and we pray for peace and comfort to those who grieve their loss. May our time together be joy-filled as we share memories of days gone by and news of where life's journey has taken us. Give us grace to recognize our mistakes from the past so that we might have forgiving hearts. May our personal reunions be shaped by kindness and laughter, and may the stories told and retold today bring delight and goodwill. We give thanks for the memories, for the hands who spanked us and pointed us in the right direction of life. And as we enjoy this day, may our festivities be a toast in honor of and thanksgiving for those who had a part in our lives at John Dello Howe School. Bless this reunion time, we pray. May these moments together lead us to treasure ever more fully each beat of our hearts and every new day that life brings. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
That's a good invocation. I'm not even religious, and that's a good invocation. Actually, I am in some ways. But
if we have anybody that came in after we closed the registration and still needs to register, get in touch with Tammy. She'll help you out with that. We've got some special recognition today that we'd like to show our appreciation for the hard work that they've done over the years. And we're going to ask that the Alumni Board all stand and help out as we go through this. Call her up and I want to get
oh, that's nice. Never seen one.
We want to call Miss Minnie Brown up. We have a little something to give her for all her hard work.
Yeah, Minnie works in the kitchen and she is, I'll probably get emotional, y'all.
She's helped us so much.
We could not do without her.
She's helped us every year with the alumni homecoming and done most of the cooking and helped us get everything set up. And she's helped us with our children's fishing tournaments and just about everything else we've had for the alumni. She's helped us out. Come up here, Miss Minnie.
And she stayed here late at reunion night.
We want to present this to you for all your hard work.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, let's wait to see. Okay. That's not all. Oh, you. I love you. I love you too. Thank you, thank you. I know it. I know that y'all the reason
When I was a sled
why I
agent,
do it. I know you
Chief
can't help
Swan
but love me.
presented
You
me
better
with
love me. I sure love
a
you.
tie tack of
Thank
the
you.
state seal.
Thank you. Hey, how are you?
And
Thank you. When were you a slut? Thank you.
Say something. Back in the
I can't
early
say
70s.
it. They say it all for me. I'm here. I'm still here because I love Delaware.
I was only a state constable. I did
me,
undercover work.
and so I just want to return the favor, and that's all I do.
So if you stay for the hamburger hot dog.
Thank you, thank you guys. Thank you so much.
She's already
All that
retired.
hard work,
She's
she's finally
taking
got to
help us.
retire. We would also like to call up Colleen Starling for her help and all she's done for the alumni.
I knew Buford Maybury. I worked under
Miss Colleen retired from Delaware here not too long ago, and she has been a large, important part of our alumni. She's helped us with a lot of the mailings and the paperwork and everything we do, and we sure do appreciate everything she's done.
nice.
I'd just like to say thank you so much for the Alumni Association. I started in 2005, and they embraced me right away. And after learning the history of Delaware, I developed a passion for Delaware. And it's all because of this team right here. Mr. Bob Walker, who has gone. I did get a chance to meet Mr. McAllister, Sherry, Terry, Joe, Mr. George, and oh God, yes, Ms. Robin, and also
Richard.
Mr. Richard. And Mr. Ronnie Davis, of course. And also, there's so many, it's just so many of you all that's
Beginning to
always
sound like the
had a place
Emmys
with
and
me.
the Oscars.
And I enjoyed every moment, everything I did for you all. It all was from my heart. And I thank you so much.
As I said earlier,
That's really nice.
we're glad to have some of the board of directors with us. We have some of our foundation members. And I'm gonna ask Mr. Jennings Maccabee to come up to the podium here and say a few words to us.
We love you, man. Thank you, Tony.
I'll try to be as brief as I can. You know, my love for this place goes back a long way. My dad played football up at this university that I had the shirt on. I see a bunch of these up there. But as you know, Dr. Geddes also played football up there, and they got to be good friends. They were a little bit apart in years, but and I really appreciate Dr. Geddes because he'd let me date girls on Thursday night. Nobody else could do that. Everybody else had to wait till Friday. And if you didn't call by Monday, he says, that guy's not as interested in you as you think. You can't go out till next week. But that's just the kind of guy he was. But I've always enjoyed working with Delaware and supporting the causes and different things up here. I remember back through the years, I was on the Ways and Means Committee for some 20 years. And I brought the whole committee up here one time, 25 members, took them out to Hickory Knob, fed them a steak, brought them back over here. And I got back to Columbia and I looked in the budget and there was a swimming pool in there for Delaware. And I went to the staff and I said, where'd the swimming pool come from? And they said, well, you got to understand, that old concrete pool down there, the kids are going to get their knees scraped up. And I said, well,
I didn't make a pitch for it. They said, well, yeah, we know that, but we put it in. And it just showed up in the budget. And of course, we gotta get it fixed, Danny, before it's over with. But, as most of you know, I served 23 years in the legislature and got to work with a number of good people, employees, staff, and kids from here at Delahal. And I'm running again to try to get back. And one of the main reasons I'm running, one of the foundation board members said I had a single issue campaign. And he's kind of right, because that single issue is John Delahal.
Wow.
And before I let anything happen like what this school, this institution is going through, I'll run out of breath. I've spoken for 18 hours before in the legislature, and they ain't seen nothing yet when somebody tries to mess with this place. You know? Now I need to tell you that this last year, a lot of you have probably seen the provisos, and Danny might disagree with me on some of this, but the way I read them, and I had a ability to do that because they're hidden meanings sometimes. You know, you got a bunch of lawyers down there drawing up all these bills and provisos, and sometimes they'll put something in there that you can interpret, you know, both ways. But our local representative put in an amendment that basically gave John Delahal's budget to the Juvenile Justice Department of Corrections, jail, and did away with the board, among other things, and it passed the House 109 to 0. 109 to 0. And that set the stage for the Senate proviso, which was a little bit different in that it left the board in charge, but it charged the Board of Trustees to contract with an outside provider that had experience in dealing with children, and they want to, instead of taking in these younger children like we have right now, they wanted to take in children that are aging out of foster care and children that have been in trouble at juvenile justice. Well, you and I know that juvenile justice is spilling over. They got so many kids, and there are 800 kids in Greenville County alone that would fit this criteria. But you're talking about kids, and I've heard estimates from 17 to 21 to 19 to 25, and I just don't think that given, and I've read Dr. Delahal's will many, many times, I just don't think that his will allows for something like that to happen. But when you're dealing with a bunch of egomaniacs like you have down in Columbia this day and time, they don't care about stuff like that. You know, you might have to go back to the Supreme Court. You might have to get an injunction. I'm hoping that I can get, you know, back down there so I can protect this school. I know all of you love this place. I've heard several of you today talk about what this school meant to you and how you could have turned out if you didn't have the structure and the guidance and the education that was offered to you from here. I recognize that. But you know, the bad thing about the legislature is when your local representative, you know, doesn't support things like John Delahal, the rest of them are going to go along with it because, and the reason for that is when they have issues back in their local counties, they want everybody to support them. And that's the reason that things happened the way they did. But I tell you, it set the stage, and I don't think the Senate proviso is much better than a House proviso, other than it lets the board, Barbara, stay intact. Now, Barbara has assured me that before they take the money, it'll be over her dead body. But I can tell you that crowd in Columbia, they don't care about dead bodies or anything else. They're going to do what they want to do unless somebody stops them. And I want to be the one that does that. Now, I gotta tell you a cute little story that I heard, you know, with all this national politics and ugliness going on between Hillary and Trump. And this guy was running for public office, and he stood up on the platform, and his opponent was sitting over there on the left-hand side, and he said, "Now, I hate to tell you this about my opponent, but he's real bad to drink. He's real bad to steal, and he's real bad to chase women." And this old farmer in the back of the room pulled out his galoshes and said, "Good, we won't have to break him in." But it's a pleasure for me to be here today and speak with you a little bit about my views on where we are and where we need to go. My opponent has a war chest. The last time I checked, it was about $18,000, and I'm struggling to get to 500 in mine, but I'm gonna do the best I can. But getting your word out this day and time is extremely, extremely difficult. Only 1/3 of this district is in McCormick County. 2/3 of it is in neighboring Greenwood County. And most of the district in Greenwood County is new area that I have never run in before. I've always, you know, been in Greenwood County, but the lines have moved so much that it's all new. But I've spoken to several groups in Greenwood, and my main topic to those groups is John Dell Howe School and how wrong it is to treat the children the way they're being treated. Now, they tell me that, you know, the kids that are here now, they're gonna put them in foster care and take these older children like the proviso talks about. Well, I don't have a lot of faith in that. And the reason I don't have a lot of faith in that is because you and I know that if a kid has problems, or he has emotional problems, the only reason the foster parent will take them, or parents will take them, is to get the money. I don't think they care about the kids. You know, they'll be right back in the same position they're in, and I just don't believe that that's good for the children. I'm going to put my faith, my family, and the children of the state of South Carolina, and in particular, John Dell Howe School first. And I'll go to my grave fighting to keep it that way. God bless all of you. And if you got a couple of dollars you don't need, come by and give it to Betty Carroll back there. She's my mentor and my spiritual guider.
That's Dell Howe girl in her.
Dell Howe girl.
Yeah.
She came here in
Homecoming queen.
She came here in 1952, and we graduated from high school together. I tried to date her, but she was in love with somebody else in that high school. Matter of fact, it was my best friend. And when I tried to flirt with her, she put her nose up in the air. It's a good thing it didn't rain, because she would have drowned. Put her nose in the ground, and 50 years later, we went to a class reunion, and we've been together, what, 7 years now? So, yeah. She's been good to me, and I hope I've been good to you too. God bless all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
God bless America.
Thank you.
Good talk.
While I'm thinking about it, we got a young gentleman that drove all the way from Washington State to be with us today.
Hey, Timmy.
That shows you what Dell Howe has done for some of the children that they went through. We've got people from Florida, Mississippi, Washington State, and no telling where in
Columbia.
Columbia. Yeah, we got one from Columbia back there.
Rome, Georgia.
He's a chicken lover.
Don't forget Rome, Georgia.
We've got them from all over, but that just goes to show you that people will drive long distances to be here with us. And we've got these things every 2 years, and I'm hoping that it will continue for the next 150 years, 200 years, whatever it takes, because the children of South Carolina need this place.
How many miles did you drive, Tim?
Over 3,000.
3,000 miles just to come here. That's wonderful. Bless your heart.
This is home.
Well, at this time, I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Dr. Danny Webb, President of Del Howe, and let him come up and speak with you and see what he's got to say today. Thank you, Dr. Webb.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Wolf. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you for your leadership of the alumni over the last couple of years and for all of the service that you have rendered to the numerous families that we have served and the many, many children throughout the state of South Carolina. We thank you for your friendship and for your dedication to John Delahowe. Thank you to Nancy. I want to thank you personally, you and Nancy, for your many contributions and the visits that you've made to campus, the conversations that we've had on numerous occasions, and we thank you for your support. According to the agenda here, I am to introduce legislators and special guests. On my way in this morning, I received a telephone call from Senator Nicholson, who wanted to send his regards. He was unable to attend today. And Mayor Roy Smith, Mayor of McCormick, also telephoned me this morning, and he had to go out of town for an emergency, so he will not be able to attend today. Also, you just heard from former Representative Janice McAfee, and we're delighted that Mr. McAfee and Ms. McKinney is here today, and he is certainly a friend of John Delahowe. We also had Representative Ann Parks, who was here for a short while and left. We also have several board members here with us today, and we have our board chair, Mr. Dan Shonka, who is here. We also have Ms. Barbara Devaney, who is a board member that is here with us today. We also have Mr. Tom Love, who is one of our board members who is here with us today. And I'm also delighted to have so many of our staff members who have chosen to come to be a part of this grand occasion today, to come and to welcome you home and to help you celebrate. We are delighted that we are here again this year to welcome you back home and to be a part of this grand occasion. And I really enjoy hearing the numerous stories that you guys share on one another, and especially the ones on Miss McKinney. I'm always delighted to hear those stories. But staff members, I'm sorry.
This is the way it's gonna be.
Okay, all right, that's right. And we thank Miss McKinney, who recently retired from John Delahowe, who had been here many years and worked in the L.S. Bryce School. And I can tell you firsthand that she has made many personal contributions to students from all across this state. And they come in and they have accused her of dating Dr. Delahowe. Ask her exactly how long she's been here. But she was certainly the mother of this campus while she was here. And I want to thank you personally, Mrs. McKinney, for the very fine job that you did prior to your retirement and for the investment that you made into the many lives that you were able to touch here at John Delahowe. And I want to tell you that because, you know, I've grew up, and as many of us have heard numerous times the old cliche that it takes a village to raise a child. And I believe that. It takes a village to raise a child, but it only takes one person to impact the life of that child. And I thank you for impacting the life of children. Thank you so much. Also, I we're delighted to have Chief Tim Wines, who is here with us today. Stand up, Chief. I know they all know you, but
Hey,
Chief Tim, and seated next to him is Chief Katie Hughes, who is one of our teachers, and we have Danny Wardlaw, who served in the wilderness program. He served in the wilderness program for many, many years, and recently he has been named Director of Student and Family Services here on our campus. Also, we have Chief Jeremy Jensen, who recently assumed Chief Danny's old position in our wilderness program. And thank you, Chief, for the very fine job that you continue to do in leading our staff in the wilderness program. We're also delighted to have Mr. Frank Dorn, who is our ag teacher slash bulldozer driver slash hay baler, pig farmer, just numerous contributions that he make here on this campus on a daily basis. And he's very committed. Mr. Dorn has been with us now, I think, for 2 years, and he is very committed to the mission of this agency and impacting the lives of children and creating an environment that will foster these young men and women an opportunity to heal, to grow, and to make lasting changes. And he is one that's here very early in the morning, and oftentimes he's here late in the evening, leaving around 7 or 8 o'clock, as do most of the staff. And I just thank God that we have a dedicated cadre of staff that's willing to make the investment. And I also like to recognize Mr. Dan Brannion, who is our director of advancement here at John Bell Howe, who was very instrumental in working with the foundation committee and making your stay here at home pleasurable this weekend. Thank you very much, Dan, for those contributions. At this time, I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce to you our board chair, Mr. Daniel Shonka, who is a retired educator himself, serving more than 30 plus years as a teacher in the state of South Carolina. He currently resides in Central South Carolina, signed up with anticipating that we would meet quarterly, 4 meetings a year is what most of the board members are required to meet. And last year, his first year, along with the other board members, I think we ended up meeting 18 times. So it's a very busy time at John Bell Howe, and I would turn things over to him now for him to greet you and to bring you his comments. Mr. Chair.
It's been some tough couple of years here. We're fighting, as Jennings already told you, we're fighting some people down in Columbia, and the hardest part is we don't always know who we're fighting against. We knew we had one person who was speaking hard against us. Richard witnessed it at one of our meetings down in Columbia, and that individual is not running for re-election, thank goodness. And a lot of people thought, that's it, we're cleared sailing now, it's going to be great. But we're finding, we had an inkling, and we know now that it's deeper than just one person. It's bigger than that. And things change. We understand things change. When I was teaching, I started teaching back in 1980. And when I retired after 31 years of teaching, I'd seen a lot of different changes. But the more things changed, the more I realized the real root of teaching. And the more I realized what the root of John Bell Howe is the heart of the student, right? And how do you quantify that? But that's the society we're living in now. We're living in a society that wants us to account for everything, and they want us to quantify everything. And my question to them is, how do you quantify the changes in the heart of the students who are here at John Dell Howe? You can't put a number on that. That's something way deeper. But that's what they want. They want numbers. They want us to justify. They're trying to put dollar signs on changing somebody's heart. And it's difficult. I'm not going to lie to you, it's really difficult. But just like Jennings told you earlier, every single member on that board cares about John Dell Howe. We care deeply. And we're going to fight to the end. And I hope that there isn't an end. And I wish I could stand here and tell you there would be. But I can't do it. Because the people that are conspiring against us are powerful people. And the only way we're going to survive it is through people like Jennings, people like our board members, friends of ours that are in the legislature. We have to make them feel bold enough to speak out. We need folks like you to step forward and stand up for John Dell Howe and what's going on here. We have great ideas. We're getting obstacles thrown in front of us that keep us from carrying out these ideas. I'll give you an example. Mr. Dorn, our ag teacher, and I would say our farm manager, basically, he's got some great ideas that he's come up with the help of Tim Wines. And they've got great ideas of turning this into a working farm where kids get amazing hands-on experience they can't get anywhere else. That's what we're talking about trying to do. And what's Columbia doing? No, wait a second, it's not all Columbia. What are our opponents in Columbia doing? They're throwing as many obstacles as they can at us. I don't know how many reports they forced Mr. Rose, the principal of L.S. Bry School, and Dr. Webb to fill out last year. But it was huge. It was gigantic, the volume of reports that they turned out. And we turned them out on time. We did what they wanted us to do, and they just kept looking for something smaller, something that they could bring up, and that's how they've tried to discredit us, by picking at us, by using a microscope on us. They aren't treating us the same way they've treated other schools. No. Don't think for a minute they did. So, yeah, we're trying to stand up for ourselves, and we have plans in place. I can't show you all the cards that are in our hand, okay, because we just can't do that yet. But know that we are fighting back. We're going to use every resource we have to fight back. We're going to try the best we can to carry out the vision of our staff to turn this into an even better place that's going to go on for a long, long time, helping hundreds of kids every year become better people and grow up to be adults who are productive citizens in our society. That's what we're trying to do. And I think that's about as much as I need to say today. Thank you very much for your attendance. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the passion and your love for this place, and I understand it because, like it's been said, this is your home. And I understand how deep those roots are. So I want to thank you all for everything you do to help support us. Please know that we're doing as much as we possibly can. We are not going to give up. We're not going to just roll over and die like they want us to. When you have somebody like Tom Love on the board, I guarantee he's not going to allow it. And I'm not going to allow it either. So I want to thank you for your time. If you have any questions for me, I'll answer a few real quick. Yes, sir.
This is my first time, and I'm listening to you say that Mr. Dorn has excellent ideas about turning this into a working farm.
Right.
Why would you turn something that already existed into something? It was a working farm.
Exactly. So my feeling was that we got away from that. And so we've built it up to the point now where we have cattle, we have horses, we have chickens, we have goats, we have pigs. We had produce. We had sold out of the produce stand. And we want to expand it.
You didn't
But
let me
it's
finish my question.
I'm sorry, but I'm just telling you that it had fallen off and we're building it back up.
That was the last part of my question. How long have you been on the board? And my question is, why has the board allowed the school to deteriorate to the extent that I see it today?
It's not the board. It's
I
not the
understand
board.
what you're saying. I've been on the
It's
board 2
legislature.
years.
Okay,
In fact, almost every board member on the board has been on for 2 years.
okay.
Essentially, the people, and I don't want to sling mud at anybody because I don't know what happened. I don't know how it happened. All I know is it happened. And when I came in, I was told that there's a bit of a mess there. You're going to have a hard time, but then it should straighten out. Well, we're working hard to straighten it out, but we're not getting a whole lot of assistance from the people who oppose this incline.
Okay.
And so, budget-wise,
Okay.
I'll give you an example. Supposedly the recession's over, right? Supposedly we're bringing in more tax dollars into the state than we had before. And yet the governor has asked every agency, not just John Delhowe, every agency in the state to cut their budget 3%. Now these are mostly budgets that had to slash a lot during the recession.
Right.
And now we're asked this. And I'll tell you why. We have roads that need to be repaired. But nobody has the political courage to raise taxes to take care of the roads that have been neglected for how many years?
Okay.
Yeah, raising taxes, that's like the death knell for any politician who has a future in politics, or so they think.
Okay. I was just curious because I heard you say something about the legislature wants you guys to basically explain or show the difference or how you're going to operate with the juvenile justice. Believe me, I know what Broad River Road looks like, and I know what Florence used to look like. The whole idea is John Delhowe School is not those places. It
Right.
never has been. And I'm going to tell you, it broke my heart today to hear staff and kids that are here today tell me that this is a prison without walls. That hurt.
Never was when we were here.
Exactly.
I understand that.
And it hurts to see
No
kids that are here, and actually I see staff that really want to make this place something. But I sat in this cafeteria talking to kids and staff who were former kids who says that this is doing time. This was never about doing time.
Right.
And if you don't make the legislature understand that this is not John G. Richards, this is not R&E, this is not Broad River Road, then no matter how much you get people to stand up and talk, you're not going to win.
Right. I understand exactly what you're saying. We're moving toward that. I'll say this. We're moving toward that. We're being forced to move toward that if we're even allowed to continue.
Okay.
But I mean, one of our problems is we have to fill every bed here to be as efficient as possible.
That's right.
That I
And
understand.
the way that happens is difficult under the current way things have been going on. So, you know, if you're taking kids who get in trouble at school and you're trying to correct behavior, which, believe me, that's a great service for this state. To do behavior modification on kids who are having troubles controlling themselves, that's a huge thing for this state. So, but that also makes for very transient population here. So we're looking for ways that we can fill every bed for a longer term, and we're working on it. And I can't really speak to that at this point because, again, I can't be sure exactly what we're gonna be allowed to do. They mentioned, I think Jennings mentioned the proviso. What I think a lot of you don't fully understand is, and maybe I'm wrong, but some of you may not, there may be some misunderstanding here. The board is forced to carry out the proviso. A proviso is essentially a one-year law. And it ties our hands. It limits us as to what we can do. And so, yeah, we would love to do great things that would fill every bed and make this a much more stable population of kids that we could help. But our hands are being tied to a large extent. And if you look at the proviso that passed last year, it is not what we really wanted as a board. But it was better than what the House one was. And honestly, the Senate wrote one that wasn't too different from the House, just so that hopefully they could get one passed. And that's how it worked.
Change is a-coming.
So,
Can I say something?
yes, sir.
Gotta remember that children up here now are under completely different circumstances than we were. Most of us were thrown away kids, abandoned, in different circumstances. These children here, special needs, most have been in trouble, am I right, Dr. Webb?
A small percentage of them,
Okay.
they have behavior issues, but they have not had any type of direct involvement with law enforcement.
Well,
Behavior issues
So
at
did I.
school primarily on the verge of.
but they required special discipline,
Yes.
whereas we didn't.
Yes.
We were being raised, and they're trying to be rehabilitated.
Okay, I guess that's where I'm confused, because Joanne, I remember Joe. I don't remember a lot of other people, I'll be honest with you, other than Mr. Bryce, Ms. Stone, Mr. Shiflett. And I've looked at what brought me into the school, and it's exactly what you're talking about wanting to do. So I'm just trying to understand why everybody is not looking. It's almost like you're wanting to do something that the school was meant to do.
Right.
Bryce signed a letter that clearly states that the intent of John Delahow was to bring kids in and allow them to socialize and develop scholastically so that they could participate positively in their family environment and operate in a public school system without disruption and grow up to be productive citizens. And that's what 3 years of this school had documented with me.
Sure. Well, the thing is, over time, things change.
Mm-hmm.
And the regulations of the Department of Social Services have changed tremendously. And we have to operate under their standards.
Okay.
And so that helps dictate to us who comes and who goes. And that's part of the issue. Part of the issue. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
So you want to show them?
One of the things that come back to me when I've been made trips to Columbia and listening to these, the state is dictating a lot of things now that they want Delahow to do. And when we were here and some of the older ones were here, the state kind of kept their hands out of it and let whoever Mr. Geddes was running it or Mr. Bryce. But I've always said what worked well in the past would work well in the future. It would be good if we could get it back like it was. And that's hard to do sometimes. We appreciate everything. I'm gonna ask Mr. Brandon to come up, if he would, and give us a foundation update.
Are you gonna do that? Okay.
Mr. Doyle, would you mind getting the last light switch this way? Good afternoon. Welcome back to the John Delahow campus. One thing I've learned in the last 3 years is what an extra special place John Delahow is. And that's especially true with our alumni. I guess that's why I had a dozen or so phone calls the last couple of days, making sure this alumni reunion was still on. And I'm sorry that Matthew chose to act up when he did, but I suppose we should count our blessings that it wasn't any worse than what it was. I know some of you have been on some tours today, and let me begin by giving you something new to our campus. It's an aerial view of the John Della Howe campus. And I'm going to ask Kim if she'd go ahead and play that. You won't hear any sound with this, but hopefully you can get a view of our campus through this.
Is that done with a drone?
For well over 2 centuries now, our campus has provided the children of South Carolina with a safe place to heal, grow, and make lasting changes. Located on 1,200 scenic acres in the Sumter National Forest in McCormick County, John Della Howe School serves youth in grades 6 through 12 who are facing emotional, behavioral, or academic challenges. Our students live on campus, usually for several months. And, along with their family members back at home, they learn new approaches that will help facilitate both positive interaction and relationship building, all aimed at improving their lives. Students also focus on academics and career training that will give them the hope of a brighter future. John Della Howe School provides a welcoming environment to our students, who represent all of our state's 46 counties. Here, they also receive 24-hour therapeutic care. Most leave our campus working toward life and workforce skills that will not only allow them to survive, but to thrive here in our beautiful state. To learn more about how John Della Howe's residential and wilderness programs lead to positive changes in our students, we invite you to explore our website or just give us a call. John Della Howe School, a safe place to heal, to grow, to make lasting changes.
Okay, this video is now part of our John Della Howe School website, so when you go home and you want your children and grandchildren to see the campus that was a big part of your lives, you can turn it on your computer, and also you can hear the audio that goes with that back home. We've been real busy here the last couple of years, and let me share just a few things on behalf of advancement and development. First of all, we've been blessed with a lot of good volunteers who have been very good to our students. We have a group of guys who for the past 3 years have been coming over most every Wednesday, working with Chief Tim and doing some construction projects on our campus, and their labor has been totally free. And through philanthropy, all the materials used in their projects has been funded through donations by individuals, churches, and other organizations. We have a gentleman over at Savannah Lakes Village named Jerry Emke. He, along with Josh Sott and some other people over there, have been real true servants in the truest sense of the word, helping us get our campus into better shape in this volunteer mode. Their most recent project is what some of you remember as being the old bike shed. I'm going to let Tammy pull this up on the screen here. Okay, the bike shed will be the next slide here. This was what it looked like about a year ago. A tree limb had caved in the roof and it was in terrible condition. But then if we'd show the next slide, the volunteers did their magic and have turned it into a little recreation area for our children at no expense to the school or to the state, all through donations. And I hope some of you might have had a chance to drop by and take a look at it today during your visit. If you would, next slide. Last year, the volunteers completed our new horse barn for the wilderness program. You see it here, again, at no expense to the school or the state. If you look inside, they've done some stalls and a tack area inside, a loft for the hay. They even have a water heater that allows the kids to bathe and groom the horses in winter. And if we'll look at the next slide, in addition to all the donations that made this possible, it also gave our children the chance to get involved in this project. And they actually were taught to use the portable sawmill down there to mill some of the lumber that was used on this and some of the other projects we've had. Here you see Chief Tim Wines and Mr. Frank Dorn, our ag teacher, at work. And speaking of Mr. Dorn, if we have the next slide, Mr. Dorn has got our greenhouse back into operation. So a lot of good things are taking place on our campus here. And of course, it makes me have to water a lot more plants on my front porch every summer, but that's okay. We look at the next slide here. One pressing need we've had here at Howe is a way to keep our students fed and keep them warm in the event of an extended power outage. For example, about this time last year, during all the flooding that took place here in South Carolina, we lost power here at Howe for about 2 or 3 days. And it ended up, Dr. Webb eventually had to take some of our students over to Hickory Knob to get warm baths and have a good meal. So it's real hardship when we lose power here on our campus. And now we've improved the safety of our students with the addition of a 60 kilowatt commercial generator. And this generator was made possible by a generous grant from the Sale Family Foundation, which covered about 2/3 of the cost. The cost was $30,000. The rest of the money came from the local Good Shepherd Catholic Church, the McCormick, Abbeville, Calhoun Falls, and Due West Lions Clubs at the Christmas party we had here last year, from West Carolina Telephone, from John Howe School, and also from the John Howe School Foundation. And this commercial generation, you've probably seen it in your visit today, now sits between Huguenot and McCormick cottages, and it gives us at least one option for placing our children when we lose power on our campus during bad weather. It's diesel powered, and it can operate at least 48 hours non-stop on a tank of diesel. Next slide. So we're thrilled to have this as a new safety net for our children, the children we serve. Okay. Another thing our foundation has been involved in, we received donations from benefactors across the state who have made it possible for our students to be exposed to some educational and cultural things that might not have happened otherwise. And one example is last November, our students got to go down on the All Brass tour. You've heard of the famous architect Frank Lloyd Wright, the father of American architecture. He designed a lot of buildings and homes in his day, but he designed only one plantation, as it turns out, and that was a hunting preserve located down in Yamasee, South Carolina, just a few miles below Walterboro. 15 of our students got to tour the plantation, which is now the property of a man named Joel Silver. He's the movie producer who put out the Die Hard movies a number of years ago. And the students on this trip also had the opportunity to stop by the Thomas Cooper Library on the USC campus. They were also involved in a walk-in tour of downtown Charleston, and they also got to pay a visit with Mayor, who was then Mayor Joe Riley of Charleston, in Charleston City Hall. And then they came back up the road to Columbia about nightfall and had a meal at the Columbia home of our foundation board chair, Temple Liggett. So some of these are the type of things that happen through our foundation. Next slide, if you would. The foundation is also very appreciative of the role that you as alumni play in sponsoring recreational events like the Children's Golf Tournament each year and the annual Rufus Sawyer Fishing Tournament. Here you see Alumni President Richard Wolf handing out trophies at last year's fishing tournament. Okay, next slide. The kids all get trophies. They get prizes like rods and reels. And it's also the first time many of these children have ever had the chance to go fishing. We take that for granted, don't we? But a lot of these kids have never gone fishing in their life until they have this opportunity through this tournament. And I'll never forget, we had one little fellow from Spartanburg last year, and he had never fished a single day in his life. And the captain who took him out on his boat taught him how to bait a hook, he taught him how to cast, and you know what? Before the day was over, he had won the trophy for catching the most fish. And he was so excited. The boat captain told me, I didn't do anything special, I just showed him how, and he picked up on it right away. He turned out to be a natural fisherman. And that brings us to why we're here today. Many of the children we serve here at John Della Howe need nothing more than an opportunity. They need an adult to spend a little time with them. They're not bad kids. They just need a chance to be able to prove themselves on a level playing field. And that's our mission at John Della Howe School, to provide them a safe place to heal, to grow, and to make lasting changes. Okay? If you'd like to help these children do that through our foundation, remember them, if you could, help us help them have a chance. You can help us by looking on the website. Look us up if you need our information. I've got some cards here for those of you who don't use the computer. If you need my card, if you want to know how you could help through the foundation, you can certainly get in touch with me by phone or shoot me an email. But again, we're glad to have you here today for this 54th reunion and homecoming, and we hope to be able to see you again in a couple more years. And God bless you all, and have a safe trip back home. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. That's good, Dan.
And we appreciate that. And I'm a big fisherman myself, and I really enjoy going to the kids' fishing tournaments and seeing the smiles on their faces when they come back. And some of you were here, I guess, 2 years ago when a little guy caught one that weighed 34, 35 pounds. It was all he could do to hold it up, but he was a smile from ear to ear. We got memorials and the silent prayer and the candle. We're going to call up Ronnie Davis and Sandy.
Before we get started, I used to be a cheerleader in high school, so I have a big mouth. I don't need a speaker or anything, so I'm just gonna holler, okay? Before we get started, we have people that are here from all over, but we haven't recognized those who are the oldest. And you know, it's hard for me at times to get out of bed at my age. So I really want to thank and recognize those who are on up in age, but they come with wisdom. And so let me start and see if I can narrow it down as to the oldest one that is here today, because they need to be recognized. So I'm going to start with 100, 99, 98, 97, you never know, 98, 97, 96, 95, 94, 93, we're getting warm, 92, 91, 90. Okay, 89, we're getting there. I know we have somebody. 98, oh, excuse me, 88. I missed one, I skipped.
Richard's 88.
Where?
Richard.
Way to go. Let's see. 88, 87, 86, 85, 80, 85.
Sandy,
What?
Richard started the Alumni Association. Yes.
Congratulations.
1957.
Thank you. See, and there's a lot to be said for that, guys. I mean, really, seriously. But on one other note, I do want to say that, y'all, we may not have a place to come 2 years from now.
We will.
I'm gonna think positive.
God will take care of it.
This is home. I didn't have a place to go. This is home. But I have met so many wonderful people today. Everybody has a story to tell. It's amazing some of the stories I have heard. Please, if you don't do anything else in the next few days or weeks or months, Write down your story. Each and every one of you have a special story about Delaware and what it has meant to you and what it has done to change your life. Pick up one of Dan's cards, send it in to him. We need to be recognized and heard in Columbia. It has changed so many lives, including my own. Please do it for us, for Delaware. It'll make a difference.
At this time, we are going to read a list of deceased, I'd say members of their family at this time. And afterwards, we will have a moment of silent prayer for us, okay? And she's going to ring the bell after each name. Elizabeth Asbill, I hope I pronounced these names right. Janet Anthony. Joe Bagley. Lillian Sheriff Brown. Shirley Spinell Corn. Kirby Jennings DeLoach. Connie Dempsey. James Jim Dry. Shirley Mills Thale, I think that's correct. Joe Geddes. Martha Dunn Gilbert. Jimmy Glisson. Worley Graham. Bernice Capps Harrelson. Bernice Lephart Holloway. James B. Jimmy Link. Mary Clinton Link. Carolyn McAllister. Don Ross. Betty Ard Spence. Jean Stone. Hildreth Dennis Strong. Patricia Glisson Simpson West. Charles Witt. Sandra Cameron Young. There's a couple people that are names are not on this list. I think we need to say they are individuals that would help us in any way we ask them to do, to go that extra mile. They're not alumni, but we consider them alumni. As I call these two people's names, their names will be wrong as well. Larry Neal. Jimmy Prince. At this time, let's have a word of prayer, silent prayer. Amen.
My sister, Betty Jo Munger, died in 28.
Betty who?
Betty Jo Munger. Johnson.
Any of y'all got anybody that we missed, speak up, we'll write them on our list.
Yes, ma'am.
Betty Jo Mungo Johnson.
Mungo's away.
I knew a couple of them. Jimmy Glisson.
Did you have Rufus Sawyer on that list?
Rufus
Sawyer?
I know he did, I'm just saying, I didn't hear his name, was he on?
No, these are the ones that have passed away
Pardon me.
in the last couple of years. Yeah.
Hey, put interrupted, okay.
We need to add Mackie Satterfield's wife as well.
Who's that?
Mackie Satterfield's wife.
Oh, okay. Okay, did everybody get a copy of the roster? Our minutes are in that. Did anybody get a chance to?
Separate.
Oh, they separate. Oh, I thought it was already in that. Excuse me. You wanna come up and talk about the minutes?
You got a motion?
Motion second on the floor.
Motion made and seconded on the floor for the
Accept
approval
this.
of the minutes. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Treasurer's report, which will be in our roster report. If anybody's got any comments. No comments? I have a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion's been made, I hear a second. Second's been made, all in favor say aye. All opposed? Any old business that anyone would like to bring up? We have picture projects and presentations by Joanne.
I know, I'm looking for Robert. Robert, where are you?
I'm over there.
You gonna help me, aren't you? He just gotta get going. Okay, I'll explain a few things. I don't know if everybody knows about this, but we have a private alumni website, and it's hosted by myfamily.com. And you have to have an invitation. Now, you can go on as a guest and look through, but if you would like to go in and participate with the pictures and make comments, then you have to have a password to get in. Over the years, I believe it started, our website started in 2007, and we began with My Family. They hosted us for a while, and then they went out of business, so we had to change to, we started out with My Family, and now we have Family Lobby. I'm sorry about that, y'all, I made that mistake. So now we have Family Lobby, and all the pictures that were on the My Family website were merged over into the new website. And in just a few minutes, I'm going to show you just an overview of the front page of the website, so that whenever you do get home and you want to get on your computer and you want to look at the pictures that are on it, and all these pictures came from the boxes that were packed up in the offices of the school. They've been packed up for many decades and decades and decades. They go back to the 20s. We have 30s and 40s and 50s, and that's how I separated the pictures. And a lot of them were guest pictures, so you can see where that might not be a 50 picture, that might be a 60 picture. Just make me a comment and I'll fix it. But this is what the front page looks like. You'll see where you can enter in your password, your email, and your password. I have to have your email address in order to send you an invitation. We have thousands of pictures on there, by the way. Up here at the top are what they call tabs, and you'll see there's home page, a guest book. If you come in as a guest and you don't have a web password, then you can leave a notice on that guest book. This shows our list of members. It's up to you if you want to use this for your own personal use. Our photo gallery will take you to all the pictures that have been uploaded on that site. Our news, or different pictures that different things that we put on there that's going on with the school. You can put recipes if you care about it. A lot of these are for your own personal files, and music is for our obituaries. And you'll see, you can go on to that site and see what obituaries we have listed. We have a file cabinet here that we put a lot of memorabilia on, that you'll find things about Delahowe, the history about Delahowe. So anyway, that's really your main navigation. When you go on that website, you use these tabs. You can go anywhere on the site you want to go, and then if you want to go back, you click up here. I think most people that use a computer know that. And then if somebody,
Do you want to go to one of them?
yes, we'll scroll up a little bit. Scroll up a little bit. I was just going to give them. We get a Bible verse every day on it, which I depend on seeing. On the front page, you'll scroll up a little bit more from Tammy. These are a lot of things that have been added. Like before the reunion, I've been cramming pictures on this site, y'all. So I put about 300 pictures on this the other day, October 2nd. That's what's happening right there. You'll see what's new. All right, so you can go. We also have. I put a bunch of pictures with the tomb, the Lethe novel, the Delahowe plantation, all that kind of stuff you can find in that gallery. And you'll go on, alumni families, those are pictures like after people left here and they have pictures of their families. And everybody's invited to load your family pictures in this gallery right here, this alumni family gallery. I mean, show us your family. We want to see it. I do. I love it. All right, go on down a little bit more if you would. This is news. This is where Richard put a notice that we were having our homecoming. This is where, thank God, they didn't close Delahow. That was back in September, as you can see. So what it is on this front page, there's a lot to see. You even have links over there on that side that I never use that you can go on the internet, but I don't use those. Go up a little bit more. Let's see if I've missed anything. Oh, I did put that newsletter. Go back down a little bit. This is that newsletter that everybody should have received in the mail. So that was on there. Go up a little bit more. Okay, now these are, I love this family lobby because everything is so visual. So we've got a slide show of, I'm not sure what gallery this is. Go up a little bit. I'm trying to figure out what gallery this is. Go back down. I'm sorry. Go down that way. Oh, okay.
I used to work on tape trying to get that.
Okay, well, I think this is some of the wilderness and the leafy. Oh, now if you can scroll me over that way, Tammy. This is some of our fundraisers that the alumni do. If you'll, keep going, keep going. These are some cookouts where we've gotten together. And that just shows you a quick glance. And if you go back up there to where those tabs were, you can go to photo gallery and you can see every picture. So Tammy, if you would go back up there to that photo gallery, that's the next thing I wanted to show you. This is the fun part, I think. This is something we hadn't ever had before. All right, so if you go to this photo gallery, now, what you'll be able to do is you can search. Now, only on the photo gallery, not in each gallery, can you search. But right here is the search bar, and just say, let's see somebody. Let's do Wolf. Put Wolf up there. And let's see what comes up. But if you make your search simple, make your search as simple as possible. Like, don't try to put the whole name in. And then you're going to find every picture that we've got in there that's got Richard Wolf or a Wolf. It could be a John Wolf might have been there. But if you'll scroll up, you'll start seeing some. So like that's Richard when he was in the basketball. This is reunion. But you can put any name that you want to find that person, and if that person is identified in any of the pictures that we have scanned and are on that site, then it'll come up. All right, if you would go back up to the, and now go to, I want to show you all of our galleries is what I'm looking for. Okay, go to, I'm sorry, y'all.
Go up to that first line and type photo gallery, hit photo.
Go to photo gallery. Go back up here and just go to photo gallery. I think that's where we are though, isn't it? Robert, I'm trying to find all the windows where
well, just backspace.
Click on photo gallery. Sure, it's right there.
Right, you'll see what I'm talking. I need to show y'all this so you'll see all the galleries that we have. Okay, that's it. Now scoot up a little bit. Now, all right, they're mixed up because whatever gallery was worked on last is what you're going to see first. So these are the 30s and 40s, and there's 441 pictures in there you'll see, and there's comments. That's the 50s. You got 300. They're different. Keep going. Keep going. These are some of our cookouts and bass tournaments. That's our fishing tournament. Keep going. This is a keepsake party. This is a party that the alumni have been giving the kids for about 10 years now. I can't believe it's been 10 years. Keep going. Like the 90s. I just got those in. Got 600 and something pictures of the 1990s. That people can come back. Hopefully they'll come back and see. Keep going. Keep going. There's pictures of the 60s. Keep going. And then there's a page 2. So if you go to page 2, so a lot of times you'll look at this and you'll say, well, I don't see the 80s. Well, the 80s are on page 2. And there's over 1,000 pictures in there of the 80s. and there's 807. So y'all got the idea now. And like I said, this is our last website was not this visual. We didn't have the pictures like we have now. And if you're looking for somebody, you want to see a picture of them, it's easy to find. We also have a veterans picture. Like if y'all served, any of our alumni served in the service.
That's Richard.
That's mine.
That's
That's my
it.
picture on the top.
Is that Richard? Click on
That's in
that.
Play Two Vietnam.
Click on that, let it come up.
1967.
But we would love to see your veteran pictures on here. It would be
Just
awesome.
double click.
And that's something only y'all have. We don't have those. It won't click on this. Click on this. Click on this.
No, that's only 6 pictures.
I wonder why they.
Hit open.
Are we online?
Hit open up on top.
Got to be online, shouldn't it?
Says the guy who don't have a computer.
Open?
I've worked 33 years on.
All right, there he is. Lieutenant Charles A. Thunderbird. First lieutenant.
Click on his name, maybe.
The building behind us.
Have you heard anything
Is there gonna be open
Randolph
too?
Strickland or Albert Rich or? I wonder if they went to.
And now, what you can do, if you go over here to view original, click on that, it'll bring it up a little more.
That's where retired is.
That's who he keeps wanting to
I was
find.
with first lieutenant in 67.
There we go.
2 or 3 years out.
And that'll do that on your photo. It'll bring those pictures. It'll bring those pictures up bigger if you click on that view original. Y'all, this has been my passion since 2007. I've done a lot of work on it, and I've had help. Where's Rita?
She's gone.
Rita's not in here. Rita was, oh, bless her heart, she helped me so much with pictures, because they were very overwhelming, the pictures that we have. So I just hope that y'all would take a little interest in the site and go log in every now and then.
I'd like to say something. Dr. Geddes signed for me in 1955 to join the National Guard. This was 1967, during my 43-year military career. I retired as a lieutenant colonel.
There's no better way to get those pictures out of boxes and get them on here so people that love you and that don't even know you can see. There's no better way. And it's so easy to upload them on here.
Yeah, one thing that I think that we as an alumni association should do is also, he made it lieutenant colonel. We have a full colonel over here. We have a lot of people who have served in the military, and if we had a number of individuals just compile the information from the alumni that they could get, that would be stuff that could be taken to the legislature. These were Delahau boys who have gone on to do this and to achieve this and serve with distinction and things of that nature.
We had an
How many went to
alumni
college? How many went to college?
We had an alumni who passed away. Was Calvin's name mentioned last reunion? Calvin Fowler left Delahau in 46, went to college, went into the service, and went to work for NASA. And he was the one that mashed the button.
Yep.
And he used to joke and say, I sent more men to the moon than anybody.
That's right.
And he wrote a book, y'all, and that's another thing everybody in here should sit down and try to write a book. It's so easy to do these days with the internet. But he wrote a book, and the name of his book was called My Next 80 Years. And it's funny, and it's not for sale. He just wrote it for his family. But I say there's no better legacy to leave than a book for your family.
He gave me a book.
I have that.
He gave me a book.
Yeah, he did?
Because he put my fork in it.
Oh, well, I've lost mine. He gave me one, and I loaned it out, and I can't remember who I loaned it to. He did, didn't he? He did. He's a good man. And you know, let me tell you something else he did up until he died, up until the year he died. He would ride down here to Delahau. He'd go to Augusta and see his sister, and he'd come to Delahau, and he would talk to these children and tell them they could do anything they wanted to do, just because, you know, they were unfortunate, not fortunate enough to be living with their family, and he would give them a motivational speech every year. He would come to Delahau and do that. So, okay, and I think
Oh, you're different?
that's the picture and the website.
Committee. There it is.
Good job, Joe.
Thank you. Have you a second place as
Put
well?
y'all on there. Hey, Dave.
Don't think that's.
I'd like to,
See what I'm saying?
I do.
I'd like to get Tim Wines and the young lady to come up and give us a kind of a rundown on the equine program.
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely right.
Pour that candle out before it flips over.
First of all, I'd like to really show my gratitude to the Alumni Association for all you do. A lot of you don't get to see what the association does with our golf tournament, with our fishing tournament, and all the things that the alumni do for the children that are here now. You know, things may have changed, but it's not changed a lot. You know, kids still need our care, they need our love, they need your support, and it makes a world of difference to do that. We appreciate all that you do. And I'd like to introduce Katie, who's our teacher in the woods. She's in charge of our equine therapy program. And with our horses, we have 11 horses. They'll explain all that to you. And this is Kathy, and she is a part-time person who has been a godsend to us in our horse program, because you know horses take a lot more care just as much as children do. It's a 24-hour job. She's done a wonderful job of building our horse program up, getting the horses in great shape. The Alumni Association just recently gave us some funding to work on the hooves of our horses, which are in pretty bad shape for a while, but they're getting a lot better at this point because of your support. So I'm going to turn it over to these ladies, and they'll explain it all to you.
Simply not said everything that I was going to say. I'm Katie Hughes, and I'm from Anderson County. I live in Anderson County. I graduated from T.L. Hanna High School in Anderson School District 5. I got my Bachelor's of Art in Mass Communication from Lander, and my Master's of Art in Teaching in Middle Level Education from Clemson University. I've been with Della House going on my 10th year. Over the last 14. I started in 2002 as a wilderness counselor, overnight counselor down in the woods. I have been a counselor for a short period of time in a cottage here on campus, and the last 8 years I've spent a teacher in the wilderness program. The beginning of last year, Sharon Howell left us. She was over the equine program, over the horse program, and I stepped up and took over about halfway through last school year. This angel showed up, Miss Kathy, as a volunteer, and we've hired her on as part-time just to help with the horses. As all of you know, I'm not going to take a lot of your time. As all of you know, the therapeutic value of the horse program, that's one of the things that works. It's one of the old things. The kids, you know, involved with their care and teaching them how to take care of the horses and the therapy that's involved in that. I've got a couple of statements. Like people, horses are social beings whose herd dynamics are very similar to the family system. Research has confirmed the effectiveness of equine therapy, showing that it lowers blood pressure and heart rate, alleviates stress, and reduces symptoms of anxiety and depression. Equine therapy also helps people struggling with addiction and mental health disorders, helps them to develop skills for healthy living, including identifying and coping with feelings, communication skills, setting boundaries, overcoming fears, and trust, which our students deal with all of those things. Our students love the horse program, and I love the horse program. I like being a part of it and seeing the interaction. I appreciate grateful for your help and support, the agency's help and support. We hope that that'll continue. I've come up, I know that this horse program is small on the big issue with the black cloud that's over the agency right now. So I feel foolish almost even giving you this, but if you care to look at just what's involved with the horse program, and when you're helping us, this is what you're helping us do with the vet, the farrier, the supplies. I have copies of this if you'd like to see it. And thank you. I'm gonna be here doing what I do as long as I can. So somebody take me as I can.
Okay, our next order of business is the election of new officers and board members, and I'm gonna turn that over to Mr. Tony Warren.
Yeah, my friend Jimmy Glisson passed away.
All righty. Something that needs to be done. In the last publication that we sent to y'all, they had a list of proposed officers. If you've got a program, look on page 7. I know the pages aren't numbered, but just on page 7. If you look down there for the 2016-2017 Board of Directors nominations, the board has met. The nomination committee has met and published this, and y'all have had plenty of notice. But anybody can serve, anybody can be elected, anybody can be nominated from the floor. Since this was presented to us in the form of a motion from a nominating committee, it does not need a second. We can elect the whole board right here, or we can go individual. Does anybody have a nomination for any office on here? We got the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and board members.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept all.
All right, there's been a motion made that we accept the, as the list as presented, and I have a second. Is there any
Further nominations?
Oh, man.
Further nominations?
Is there any discussion?
Call the question.
Yes.
That's calling for the vote.
I am. I know that. I said yes. But I want to make sure if anybody has anything to say, they get a chance to say it. We only do this every 2 years.
I'm good at
All right.
railroading.
The vote has been called for. All those as are in favor of the nominating committee's proposal, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. All right, you are elected. George Albert, would you stand up? Our incoming president was born in the infirmary, and he's been here ever since. Ronnie Davis will be our vice president. Y'all got anything to say? And Tammy Hill has been our secretary. Does a great job. Thanks for Tammy. Drives up here from Charleston every time they have a meeting.
Tammy.
And Robin Prince. Hey, Robin. She is our treasurer. And Sharon Hughes. He's a board member. Sandy Bozeman. Yes. Richard Wolf, past president. And me, Joanne Durst, Billy. Okay. Gene Swagger was here.
Gene here.
That concludes the nomination committee and the election of officers.
I can't believe
I know how to railroad.
we've been here this long and nobody's told a joke.
Well, some of us are jokes.
Thank you.
Well, that's what they think.
So let me tell you this little story. One time, and a lot of you have been in education, a lot of time. About February the 14th every year, you know, the kids in class like to give their teacher a gift. So, and by February the 14th, the teacher generally knows everybody. So in a middle school class one day, February the 14th, the students were going to give the teacher a gift. So this little girl got up, and the teacher knew that her parents ran a flower shop and gave the teacher a gift, and she took it and looked, smelled it, and shook it, said, "Oh, Susie, this must be some flowers." Said, "Yes, teacher, how'd you know that?" Said, "Well, I'm just gifted, I guess." And then another little kid came up and gave another gift, and his parents ran a candy store. So the teacher got it and shook it and said, "Oh, this must be candy." And he said, "Oh, yes, it is, teacher. How'd you know that?" I said, "Well, I'm just lucky, I guess." And then it was Johnny's turn. Johnny got up and held the box, and she noticed there's a little damp on the bottom. She took it and smelled it a little bit. It smelled pretty good. She licked it. And the reason she did that was because Johnny's parents ran a liquor store. And she figured, boy, this must be a pretty good gift, and they must have just left the top open. So she shook it again, a little more liquid came out, and she licked and said, "Boy, that sure is good. I can't imagine what it is." He said, "Johnny, is this wine?" He said, "No, teacher." "Is it champagne?" "No, teacher." So, "Well, what in the world is it?" Johnny said, "It's a puppy."
Yeah.
Thank you for laughing. I've got a gift. First of all, Richard and I couldn't be here if it weren't for this special lady. Nancy, come up here a second, please. This is Nancy's pretty wife. You remember, and you were here 2 years ago, you remember that after our meeting, Nancy and Richard were wed right over here in the chapel. I think it was on August the 12th. I'm trying to keep you out of trouble because you told me. October the 12th. October the 12th. So I just got a little special recognition here that I got for Nancy because I know she's like this. I just want to thank you for helping Richard and I to be here.
Thank you.
You put up with a lot. She's been gracious for the last 2 years.
Is that the new Bordeaux wine?
Yes.
George Albert makes his own wine, and it is delicious. He does a great job.
And believe it or not, when I was growing up here, I used to go around bird hunting a lot of this land, some of the old plantation sites, and they had muscadine vines. That's why when the French came over here, they brought the cuttings with them and started it. And I took some of those and put them in my yard, and lo and behalf, they grew. So that's why I call it Bordeaux wine. It just comes out of when Dr. John Delahow named Bordeaux right over here, about 4 miles far, Bordeaux, France. So there's a lot of history here. Congratulations to all of us. This is 219 years that we can appreciate Delahow from being here. It started in 1797, a little older than all of us. So thank you, Lord. Please wake John Delahow up and tell him we send him our thanks for what he's done for all of us. None of us would be here if it weren't for him. So thank you very much. Richard, hop up, please. We've got a presentation we'd like to make to our outgoing president. A lot of you recognize this. A lot of you. A lot of us spent a lot of hours here over at the dairy barn milking those 40 head of Jersey cows twice a day. And it taught a lot of us a lesson. So we want to present this to Richard, and thanks to him. And I just want to tell you, he has worked his butt off the last 2 years, and we all owe him a debt of thanks. We certainly do.
Thank you, Richard.
Let's see. We've got a silent auction that we've had, and there's some still pictures over where you signed in today and registered. But we had a silent auction, and we had a minimum bid on these, and bid sheets on all of them. Anybody could bid. So on this picture, it's called a Griff's print, and it's called Pumped Out because of the old gas station print there. But Mr. Larry Sinclair, this is yours. So,
well, hold up a second. She was going to bid.
No, I'm kidding.
But the minimum bid was on this was $35, and Larry was gracious enough to bid $150.
That's because Joanne's right there, baby.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and there are four more still over there that nobody's bid on if you want to go back and look at them. And this was some of Griff's art also.
I know the guy.
And lo and behold, it's the same name, Mr. Larry Sinclair bid and got this one also.
Thank you, Larry.
So 150. Thanks again, appreciate it. I wish we had a few more. And ladies and gentlemen, I wanna tell you, this is my second rodeo, if you will, for second time for being president. But anybody that's been in this position couldn't stand here and thank you, and nothing could be shown, and none of us could be here, like I said, without the help of these ladies that serve on the Alumni committee. Sharon and Sandy and Robin, Tammy, and Joe, where was she? She's always working somewhere. But we couldn't be here. And we certainly need to recognize, anytime you see them, thank you, because they are the backbone of us guys that sort of get up and tell you things and report to you. But these girls, none of us could be here without them. They have done a tremendous job. And I'm not trying to cut into anything about the treasurer, but it's listed in the program. 2014 through 16, we had total expenditures of $2,738.64. But thanks to you and all the donations, it's also listed in here how much we made. In 2015, we made $825 as an alumni putting on fishing tournaments, golf tournaments where we make our most money. 2015 in August, had a golf tournament. The profit was around $1,850. 2016, our first golf tournament, we netted around $1,175. In the fall, our last golf tournament, we netted around $886. We had expenditures of $2,738. So we're in the red and doing okay. So when we have these golf tournaments and put them on, if you can come, we'll be more than happy to have you here. Our next one will be April the 29th. We'll have another open golf tournament at Hickory Knob. We've started having them all there rather than at Monticello over at Savannah Lakes, because they want about twice the expense that we pick up there at Hickory Knob. So if you can come to those, we certainly appreciate you coming and be glad to have you. And if you don't come and play golf, just send us a check. We'll thank you just as much. And it'll you know where it goes, because it's all printed in here.
Jordan, we're in the black, Jordan. Okay. We're in the black, not the red.
We're in the black, excuse me. See what I mean? We're in the green, that's good. Or we're in the orange, how about that, y'all? All right. Okay. Tony's got a few remarks he'd like to make.
In 1992, we got a small grant to do an archaeological dig at Della Howe's original home site. And again, in 1994, we found over 30,000 artifacts. We identified 16 structures at his original 130-acre plantation. If you're standing looking at the tomb, you go down the hill and up the hill, and that's where it is. We dug around each of the structures, and by what we found, we were able to identify what they were. I've got signs at each of the 16 sites that tell you exactly what was there and who lived there and what it was used for. Della Howe's house was there. Since that time, I've been wanting to get better access to it, because it's a quarter of a mile walk downhill and up steep hills. And I always wanted to get people who can't walk that want to see where Della Howe lived back there. If if you're going down where you turn left to go into the wilderness program, you would turn right, and the road was there since the mid-1700s. The wagon tracks were there, the surreys and the carriages that came to see Delahow practice in medicine. They would stop at the kitchen and be entertained. I showed Tim Wine, director of the wilderness program, where it started. I remember when it snowed, we came out here, we could see the tracks real well, but it didn't snow this month. And I've always wanted to clear that out so we can just go to his site without having to walk all that way. Well, Tim took it up, and it took him a long time to rake back the leaves and all to find those tracks, but he found them. And he had a bulldozer go back in there, and he bulldozed that road that's been there since the mid-1700s. They put some rocks along. And I'm gonna tell you, I honestly believe that today I had a sublime experience. You need to go down that road. I've never seen anything as beautiful as in my life. The avenues of trees, that virgin forest, you know, this is the largest tract of virgin timber in the United States except Smoky Mountains, east of the Mississippi Road. It is gorgeous. If you don't do anything but go down there and just walk through it or ride through it, whatever you want to do, I would highly suggest that you do that. Tim said he's going to put benches out there for people just to meditate. And when the leaves turn, I just can't imagine what it's going to look like. Tim, thank you for that. It's a wonderful job you did, and it afforded access for the first time. We had a tour today, and we had several ladies that couldn't walk well, including myself. That not lady, but
well done, Tony.
We got you.
But they were able to go out there and actually see his plantation and all that. So we now have access to it, which is a dream of mine that's been since 1992. Tim, you want to say anything about that?
Yes, sir. I want to make sure that Mr. Frank Dorn, who was our ag teacher,
Yeah.
He and the boys in his program, the boys in our program, Chief Katie, a lot of chiefs went out and cleared that trail, so it took a team effort to get it clear enough to get those carts back, but it will be something we'll have for many years to come.
It is gorgeous. We also put up a display of Indian artifacts in the wilderness. Many years ago, McCormick was going to rebuild the old mill, they call it, and Mr. Shiflett asked me to come down and set up a display of Delahow artifacts, which I did, but the mill never got rebuilt and our artifacts were there. At the time, Cherry and I had a little antique business, and I found a long display case, 12 feet long. Anyway, we put that at the wilderness and cleaned it up, and we started putting Indian artifacts out there. Arrowheads, tomahawks, scrapers, knives, everything. Where I live in Georgia was the home of Cherokee Nation, and they're everywhere. So I wanted to ask you if you know of anybody that has artifacts that they could do without a few, then we could donate them to the school, or you can loan them to the school, and we'll display them out there at the wilderness. So I just wanted to bring that up, just something else we've done as alumni. The last thing I want to tell you was me and George Albert and Richard, I had a dream about us the other day. And anyway, we were out on the golf course, and lightning struck us and killed us all. We went to heaven, and St. Peter said, y'all come on in, but be careful. These ducks that God has, he loves his little ducks. So about 10,000 years later, I saw George Albert coming down the road. He had the god-awfulest, ugliest woman. You can't imagine how ugly this woman was. She cried, tears would go down her back. They call it bacteria. I said, George, what happened? George said, oh, I tripped and I stepped on a duck and I got to spend 1,000 years with this old woman. Nasty woman. Well, about 10,000 years later, I was walking down the street and I met George Albert. And he had this, or did I say George Albert? I met Richard Wolf. And Richard had this gorgeous woman. I mean, she was drop dead gorgeous.
Nancy.
Yeah.
Must have been Nancy.
And I said, Richard, how did you manage that? And the girl said, oh, I stepped on a duck.
Better stay off them ducks.
All right, we're about through. I just want to let you know we got boiled peanuts in the well over there from 3:30 to 5. Bingo. Sharon's going to do that in here from 3:30 to 5. If you want to play cornhole, the game is set up in the well in the back where you registered. We did the silent auction, so get out your tickets for the door prize. We'll draw those and give out those gifts now. So, ladies.
Joe. Joe.
Y'all might wanna ask if everybody else go high.
The other pictures that you guys had for sale, do you need to sell them?
Okay.
What were the minimum bids on them? If you guys will take 10 or 20 over the minimum bid,
Everybody
I'll
have a
take 'em.
ticket.
I'll buy them.
If just the alumni got them, Patsy, you got one? You want, okay. We'll get you one. Does everybody have a ticket? We want everybody to have a chance. Because these gifts, the last time we met, all the alumni, members of the alumni board were charged to bring in 2 gifts, so that's where the gifts came from. They were donated.
Hang on, we'll get your ticket.
Hey, I need 2 tickets. Maybe I get your ticket. I better sign them. Need an invitation.
All right, I'll give you $50 for each one. I'll give you $50 for each one. Yes or no?
She said don't give him
Richard, you give them all out?
Anybody else need one?
Everybody got a ticket, last chance.
12.
All right, the way we'll do this, Sharon will pick up the gift, and Tammy will draw the number. I'll call it out, you come get your gift.
Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Larry said that, Ronnie said it might be about 3.
All right, check your last 3 numbers.
I have to give him
521. 521. 353521. That's all the numbers. 521. Going once. Sold. All right, let's try it again.
Must be present to win.
That's right. 510. 510. Last 3 numbers. Going once. All All right, sold again. We're gonna get somebody in just a second.
Maybe.
515. 515. Shake 'em up. 524. 524.
I love those fives.
Dig deep, huh? Yeah, get to the bottom. All right, that's the bottom.
476. 476.
Closer to mine.
He meant these.
Yes.
Oh, I've been
He said the
looking.
last three.
I've been looking. at the last
476. Gone.
476.
four. I've been looking at the.
Oh, I know. He knows I'm short.
519. 519. 519.
Well, I don't know what we're doing.
Know where they went. 472.
Getting closer.
472.
We must have been three because I was one.
Next number, 503. 503. 503. Sold. 518. 518. 469. 469. No view.
Mixing things up. Everybody left.
One of them. 525. 525. Yay. Somebody hollered. 525.
Oh, there she
There
is.
she is. There you go. We got more.
Look up some of my
All right,
buddies. in
533. 533.
here. Wayne Yates, Buddy Wood, Albert Elton Wood.
Next number, 468. 468. Dorothy.
He Whittle.
505. 505. Nope. Where all these went? Must have been last year's ticket. 510. 510. 510.
They had two of that one.
Somebody put both tickets back in here. 488. 488.
I got 489. I missed you. I've lucked out.
Oh, y'all got one.
514. 514.
Carson Taylor.
Old five went home.
Tell Tammy she's on. 502. 502.
I know.
We'll get them somehow. 512. 512.
I'm not even looking.
I'm not. I don't even know why I'm sitting here. I got to go get the kids. I promised the kids Hardee's and Subway.
Not this one, but the next
483.
one.
This will be good. 483.
The vase.
It's
483.
Have you ever heard of Shahuli? Shahuli glass?
No.
It's world famous. They have at the Space Needle. There's an
532.
entire section of the Space Needle Shahuli stuff. He's got them in federal places and all that. One of his former
514.
students. His former student.
514.
Well, hopefully, they'll call 471 and I'll take it back to Coco.
It costs over $10.
523. Lewis, 523.
Because I need to.
Good, let's see who got it.
519. 519. Let's have. 478. 478. $485. 485. $490. 490. $499. 499.
That's me. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
$495.
You leaving us?
No, man.
466. 466.
Find Joe. I need to pay her for those other pictures, and then I'm gonna go get the kids what I promised.
I gotta go get my son pretty soon.
Yeah. 487.
Well, no, I promised. the kids
487.
here, Hardee's and Subway.
Oh, that's good.
Something wrong. Something wrong. 535. Bingo.
Timothy.
You bought it?
No,
Tim.
Tim.
517. 517.
Swallow glass.
Griff is my best friend. I can tell you that.
What do you say about that?
Last prize. 480. 480.